Riverside.
All right, enough of that. Welcome. Three guys, many games. We're very excited this week. We've arrived. We've made a step up in class. We've joined today for a great show. We have two great figures from Notre Dame's lacrosse program. First, we have Chris Wojcik, the offensive coordinator, the mastermind behind this high-powered offense and prolific extra man team that basically lit up NCAA lacrosse the last 2 years. And alongside him, Ryan Wellner, the defensive strategist that's had the lockdown defense for the Irish. And, obviously the last few years has had tremendous results. So we're gonna jump in and want to welcome you to the program this week. We're really excited to have you. Smalls has been talking about it all week.
Wait, excuse me for a second. It sounded like you said Ryan Weiner. Isn't it Wellner?
No, it's Ryan Wellner. Is it? He's starting already.
Here he goes. Here he
I
goes.
wanted to throw that in there. Go ahead.
Here he
Right
goes.
off the bat, he's starting already.
I didn't know the guy was Jewish. I'm sorry. I married a Jewish girl. But go ahead.
All right. So the first question I really have, obviously you guys, coming off the 2 championships in a row, every season is different, but we've been talking about it all year. The fact that when you got the 2, it's very rare waters that you swim in when you go for 3. Only a few teams have ever done it. It seems to happen once every decade or so. It hasn't happened in quite a while, and it's a difficult thing. You either have to have a young nucleus of guys that are very effective right away, or you have to have a program that's so deep that carries through. So, first, congratulations again on the championship this year.
Yeah, congratulations, boys.
Thanks so much, guys.
Maybe
Awesome.
maybe we start with Chris. Your thoughts on looking forward and whether or not that factors into kids' minds of thinking like we have to keep this going.
Yeah, I mean, first off, just thanks so much for having us on. Ryan and I feel like we've arrived to be able to get on this podcast. How entertaining and insightful and just a great podcast you guys got going. So, as I said to you guys earlier, just please keep it going. I'm a huge fan. So thanks so much for having us on. But starting off with the hard-hitting questions right away, I think, not to speak on behalf of Ryan, but I think both of us would say right now we're just trying to recruit the best kids for the next class at Notre Dame and, taking it one day at a time. But, obviously we're going to come back to campus in August with the team coming off, really 2 championships. And it's extremely hard, obviously, to win one. So we're really fortunate and lucky the talent we have, the culture that we've built to be able to win, 2 in a row. So we're in unprecedented waters, going into, potentially a third opportunity here. And I'll say, just looking back on the second one, the biggest thing for us is how hungry we're going to be. How much are these guys going to want it? Coming off the 2023 championship, will there be complacency? Are guys going to be, satisfied with what we did the year before? And I think that we had outstanding internal leadership. We had, number of 5th years and then seniors. We had a really experienced veteran team this past season in 24. So we had a really good 2-year window of internal leadership and obviously incredible talent. And that to me was probably the difference maker, how hungry those guys were and how not satisfied they were in 23 coming into 24. So, we're losing, a number of key players, but key leaders as well. So that's the big question for us is going to be, it's not going to be what offense we run or, what defense we run. It's going to be that, does the culture continue to build? And then what's that leadership look like and how hungry, our guys? It's funny, the 2 championships we won were both in Philadelphia. And, I'm a big Rocky Balboa fan. So, the
Right.
Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. And in Rocky 3, he's all of a sudden now he's living in the mansion. He's wearing the silk pajamas. He's not training in the gym anymore, and he's getting complacent. And, Clubber Lang knocks him out. So, for us looking at that, it's like, how are we going to be fat? Are we going to be complacent? How hungry are we going to be? So to me, I think it's the biggest thing for us will be our culture, and how hungry are these guys going to be, with a new team, going for a third title.
Ryan, to add on that, like, I think another component, because we won a few 3 championships in club. We in the 90s we had 3, and it's not easy. It's like one of the components, I think, and I want to ask Ryan to see if you think, the other teams, it's actually there's pressure on your own team, but now every team is trying. You never get an off game because everybody wants to be that team to knock you off and knock you down the list. So do you think that it's the focus to stay the course throughout a whole season? Do you think that is something on your mind looking forward?
Oh, I definitely do. And I think that, and Chris just said a lot of it is, our guys were extremely focused. We knew we were going to get every team we played's best shot. I mean, we knew that, and that's not going to change. Heck, we approached Virginia and Duke and Maryland and Cornell and whoever the heck else, Georgetown, the same way that they're approaching us. I think that's a credit to our guys. And, it's finding the right chemistry year in and year out, game to game for that matter. But if your leaders are setting the tone, and I believe that we still have those guys in the locker room, I don't worry about that part. I mean, we got to show up and play the game on that day. That's going to be the most important thing.
Yeah, and when you're thinking about the 3-peat teams, the Gates from the 90s, they were on the team. They're prolific, they were dominant, and in the 90s with Princeton, the Hess, Hubbard, and Massey connection, there was consistency there, but your team's going to have to do it with like a lot of different components, which I think makes it even more challenging. I mean, it's different mindsets. Are they going to be able to gel, on both ends, offense, defense, and the leadership, as you said? I think, that leadership can transfer, but it is different faces. It's new. I think it's a tougher task, and I think you can do it because the talent is certainly there. But you're going to have to take everybody's best shot. I'm going to give Vin, you got a question?
Well,
We got a lot.
let me just say this. You did definitely jump right into it. You're going off of 3-peats. I want to give these guys their due before we got into that. So I want to give a little history as to, I think you guys both arrived at the same time at ND, right? You started
Yeah.
year.
We just finished our 5th year together. We both came in the summer of 19.
Right. And here you are where you guys came in together, and obviously you've had a tremendous impact for Coach Corrigan. And I just want people out there to know, and especially even just players, because it not only it goes for coaches, it goes for players. These guys are not overnight sensation who helped the team win the last 2 out of 3 years. These guys, I'm going to give you a little background first on Chris, who was a tremendous athlete in his own right at Harvard, playing 2 sports, soccer and lacrosse. He's a member of the New Jersey Lacrosse Hall of Fame. He's was a captain at Harvard. He's in the Westfield High School Hall of Fame. And his coaching resume includes 9 years as a head coach at Harvard. He coached at UPenn. He's coached at Bowdoin. And then you got Ryan he's coached Ryan. I mean, his resume, forget it. You're looking at, he's coached at the Naval Academy, he coached at Stony Brook, he coached at Washington and Lee, coached at Stevens Tech, U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, and Chaminade High School, which is my favorite, by the way. So they're also raising families. Chris has 4 kids. Ryan has 3 kids. So there's a lot of responsibility in what these guys do. And the fact that they've been able to be so successful, like I said, this is not overnight sensations. They've honed their craft as coordinators. And by the way, I also read somewhere, you both were like recruiting coordinators, which means so much to, you got to have the players. Let's face it. I don't care if you're the best coach in the world. Without really some talented players, you don't win. It's just that simple. There's some teams that are never going to get over that hump because they just can't get the players. But I just wanted to credit you guys for your love of the game, what you've done to get to where you are today. It's been a long road for both of you. And, the fruits of your labor are well deserved. I just wanted to say that. So let's give him a hand, Smalls. I know you were giving everybody a hand, Smalls.
And how about a hand for Coach Jordan? He was
Well, that was next. That's what I was going to say next.
I got to step up. I got Timmy O'Connell on the other line, wanting to get words in here. I go, Timmy, I'm fucking busy here. I go, well, here. Timmy O'Connell says he babysat well, and we'll get into that, whatever.
That is true. That is a fact.
That's not true. Please tell me it's not true.
That is a true statement.
Oh, dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Not
killing me,
good, man.
brother.
Not good.
Oh, this kid.
I tell Michael and Tommy all the time, you had no idea what your freaking dad was like.
Hey,
So,
well,
like I said, look, these championships were at Notre Dame were a long time in the making, obviously, and they were so close before the overtime game with Duke. The tough game. I think they lost to. There was
Yeah, we lost to Maryland in the quarters in 21 in overtime.
Right.
We didn't get in the tournament in 22.
So it really makes you appreciate it even more when you are able to, grab the brass ring because, there's a lot of things that come into play, not only having the best players and you do your best job coaching and all. You got to hope that you stay injury free or, what you did this year was amazing. What you did last year with those Kavanaughs banged up the way they were in the championship game, limping to the finish line to pull that game out was amazing. But, I just wanted to say, as a fan, I appreciate the hard work you guys do in getting your team prepared, and it shows on the field.
Yeah, thanks so much, Vin. Do you any of you interested in being our agents?
I could go and negotiate a contract for you. That I could do.
It's just, the one thing we haven't spoken about, going back to Steven's question, and Vinny, you bringing it up, is luck. You need freaking luck on your side. You can look at any championship team, and they've got luck somewhere. Whether it's in the stretch, and some could say Maryland had that this May. It's hard work, of course, but you need luck on your side and stay injury free. To your point.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, when you were going into that game with Maryland, you guys had to be shitting in your pants, knowing you're the better team. If you look on paper, you guys are a better team, everything. If they pull up that win, that was some incredible. I mean, they weren't favored. What was it? It was like a 3 or 4 point difference in the swing, right?
We always say sometimes, and this is, it does happen from time to time. It didn't happen in terms of your situation, but sometimes in a one-game scenario,
that's what it is.
Doesn't win.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to be prepared for everything. I believe me. I've been on a lot of teams that wasn't the best team, and we won.
Yeah. Maybe you should get 2 out of 3 like baseball. 2 out of 3 like baseball.
Super. Obviously, that was at least the first time I've been a part of it in obviously a championship game that was delayed. We warm up, we're ready to go. Yeah. National anthem, fly over, incredible. Teams walking out on the field, and to hear the PA guy go over the top saying, lightning delay, go back to the locker room. So we had a little over a 2-hour delay, and we were situated where the team was in a big locker room, and then there was a separate coaches locker room. And the coaches, we just hung out, in that coaches locker room. And then probably about 20 minutes or so before we were about to head out to warm up again, to restart the game, just heard this kind of just palpable, just energy coming from our guys, the players' locker room, how loud it was getting, how fired up they were getting. And this is, we're not even in there as coaches, the music's going. And it just had a great feeling right there. And I know I said to Coach Corey, it's like, we don't even need to go in there. We're ready to go. And of course, we come out, we're losing 2-0. So, but we certainly had a great. I really felt it in my heart, going into that, out of that locker room, that we were, whether we win or lose, we're giving it our best shot. We're ready to go.
I think we got to ask these guys, who's picking the tailgate that you're attending? Because not only did you attend the Cornell tailgate, but you attended the Maryland pregame tailgate. Listen, as long as you guys stay at those tailgates moving forward, we're going to be okay. I know we're going to win, but we got to really dissect that question.
I got to tell you, listen, I went to Post, right?
I know
So
you
I'm
did.
showing up at my home grounds. I
Yeah.
walked there. I never saw a takeover like that in the Gold parking lot. It is called the Gold parking lot. We used to have parties there in that parking lot. And as I'm walking, I had to walk past the Notre. I was like, wow. I go, Notre Dame is traveling strong. I mean, I never saw anything like that. That was like the most people I've ever seen in that parking lot. And then I got to Cornell, who I have some connections to.
I know you do.
Friends, and it looks small. They usually always have the biggest tailgate, and we talked about it. We were like, "Wow!" I go, Cornell just got rocked in the tailgate with the numbers and the crowd. So that's got to be a bonus. What's that like for having a traveling army? Like a lot of people say it's an unfair advantage. They say Notre Dame's got Irish people in every state of the country. No matter what, they got Irish fans everywhere.
Yeah. That was an incredible experience overall. 2 programs with great followings. I was blown away. I coach in the Ivy League, obviously know the strong tradition and the history of Cornell, and how, the Cornell fans travel and the passion for the program, especially on Long Island. And then what we brought as well, that was just to be a part of that game. Obviously, really, really close, entertaining game. But just to me, that was a celebration of lacrosse with 2 incredible fan bases and fans showing up there early, at Post at LIU, to really watch a great lacrosse game regular season. So it was an incredible to be a part of that game, and tremendous respect from Cornell. They're an outstanding team.
Could you see more of those games? How do those games generate? Like does somebody have to coordinate that game well in advance? I mean, is that something you think teams are, willing to do? Top teams like to say, you know what, we're going to go neutral site. What factors into that decision?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think it's a credit to Connor Busick and Kevin Corrigan, to be honest with you. I mean, to understand the importance of having that game on Long Island, it's recruiting, hotbed for both programs, with tremendous tradition there. And to put it all together, and I think, there's a third party involved, and I thought they were awesome, what Chris said as well. And then, you got to pick the right date, you got to have great weather, and then the crowds will come, and they clearly did. I think that.
Watch out for the future for the Smalley Cup, because he's been talking about sponsoring the Smalley Cup. He's talking about sponsoring a day.
Sign me up.
Yeah, he's ready to go. You know him.
I'm ready to dump some money into something good. I don't know.
He's gonna make it happen. That was a great day at Post.
Yeah, it was fun.
I hope more days like that happen. It was the perfect venue too, because it was the right size. It wasn't too small. Everybody got in there. It was an exciting day. I'm hoping that they keep doing more of those.
Yeah, it's definitely obviously great for the area to bring 2 really quality programs to play a neutral game. It's great for so many of our players that are from Long Island, or obviously New Jersey, Connecticut, closer for their families to come visit. And then it's great recruiting for both programs. For the young kids and the high school kids to come out and see us play in their backyard. So it's a home run all around.
I wanted to ask Ryan, on a defensive note, and with Woj, we had the Harvard roots, and obviously a longtime defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, Jerry Burns, a good friend of ours as well. He moved on, and I'm just curious, he was there many years, and they had a philosophy, and they were pretty stingy. Did much of that carry over? Was it tinkered with? How would you say that transfer and from then and where you are now, the philosophies and stuff are?
Yeah, no, listen, I I think the first thing that I was told, and I think Nick Saban's on record with Bill Belichick saying that, we don't change the players, you change the coach. That's one guy for like 77 people. So the system that was at Notre Dame is, I think it probably overlaps Jerry Byrne to Kevin Anderson to Coach whoever Coach had. So it's obviously you take the system and then you kind of make tweaks and turns and changes that fit your philosophy. I think looking back in my career, I tried to be overcomplicated. It was probably like the short man syndrome. Try to throw a lot at the guys, try to flex my muscles as a coach, but never really sitting back and understanding that the players can't take the information that they're being told and apply it. So it's an incredibly simple system. It obviously is very effective. But I think if you really got into the weeds, you would see slight changes and philosophical differences between Coach Byrne and I. But it's overall, it's the same system, and it clearly works.
When you're recruiting, are you looking at a player that you think might fit what you're trying to do, or are you just are you trying to maybe see a talent and say, this guy, I think we could figure something out and get him to play within our system, or because sometimes players can change the system you're in. They can do things outside of what you normally do, and sometimes you got to let them do what they do. But I'm just curious on the recruiting aspect, how you look at guys.
Yeah, I think. Listen, it's a puzzle. You got to put the pieces together. But I think you want the best players. That obviously, yes, fit your locker room. Most importantly, the systems can change. Our job as coaches is to put the players in the best position, and we've done a very good job at that. But we got to get the guys here first. And I think it goes back to what Vinny was saying. Like, there's a lot of great coaches out there, but they just sometimes aren't in positions to have the best players, and therefore, you just don't get to reap the reward of your work. I hate to say it like that, but that's how we're judged. It's a wins and losses, at least in the outside world. To the players you coach, it's about making the impact in their life. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been like, hey, you go out and get the best players. We'll figure out a way to put them in a place to be positive. But I also don't think you can have offensively 3 righty attackmen that do the same thing. That doesn't make much sense. So that's where the puzzle piece comes in. Trying to fit guys into the pieces that will fit and work with each other. So, I think you can look at the guys that we have on the field. There's probably some similarities, especially with our freshman class. Sean Light is 6'4" and super athletic, big kid, but he's very composed. He doesn't throw a lot of checks. We have another young man, Nate Schwitzenberg, also 6'3", fundamentally locked in. Could have started, but we had other guys that were in that role. We didn't need them to. So I think that if you really dive into the weeds, you'll see a lot of similarities between the players that fit the coach.
Yeah, I'd say
And
offensively. Go ahead.
to follow up on that, how much time do you actually spend like watching film of the other team to put your game plan together? Do you spend a lot of time, not only you personally as the coach, but do the players get to watch film on the other team? Do you study it before a game?
Yeah, I'll take. Yeah, for sure. As coaches, we're watching a lot of film. Anywhere, between maybe 4 to 6 games of our opponent, depending on the time of the year and depending on who they're, playing against. So our process is, we'll watch a ton of film, and what we're essentially doing is synthesizing. We're going to then boil it down to just a few clips of their offense and a few clips of their defense, their ride and their clear, their man up and their man down. And then we'll present those clips to the players. So we're watching some, ultimately the amount of film that we show our players, we watch exponentially more as coaches. And then, the way we'll pull things out is, hey, this is something that looks like our offense. Like, so if we're preparing our offense against our opponent's defense, hey, this is something that looks like our offense. So it's applicable to show our offensive players, here's a look that Duke, defended that's very similar to the way, that we play. So you kind of, full circle, probably about 4 to 6 games, we're watching of an opponent, and then we'll boil it down to just a few clips of each phase of the game.
I got a question in here. Can I jump in, Vince?
Jump in,
Okay.
Smalls.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. I noticed something in the games, and again, in the 2-game championships that you guys won, especially the last one. And I don't have much time in the sport. One of the things I was picking up on is when you guys were clearing the ball, I noticed the percentage of times clearing, the short stick guy had the ball coming over. Does that mean anything? I noticed the long stick wasn't carrying it. He wasn't as confused. It looked like more times you were getting it to the guy with the short stick before having carrying it over as to an easy clear. To me, I thought your clearing was easier than anybody in the game, even over Maryland and all these other teams. I just thought, is that something you guys worked on tremendously, or did it just come easily? I mean, the short stick guy was clearing it much more than the guy defensively carrying it over and passing it to the short stick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. We spend a lot of time on our riding and the clearing in the middle of the field. Coach Corrigan is obviously a big believer in a two-way midfield system, and middies being able to play offense and defense. And
Okay.
so what goes along with that is a tremendous focus and investment in the clearing game and in the riding game. So much of lacrosse now is about possession, not to bring in the face-off here, but where you can win and lose possessions if you're not winning face-offs is in the riding game and in the clearing game. So that's great insight, Smalls, in terms of we're trying to get that ball to our short sticks to try to get the ball up and out. Usually those guys with short sticks are going to have an easier time to clear versus a ride, and those guys are. Our short sticks are very
You weren't so
athletic.
confused, Chris. You guys were never confused when a defenseman was looking for somebody to clear. It almost looked like it was just work like clockwork. And the way you cleared it so easily made it easier for the offense to get into their little transition or whatever they were doing. That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's great. Coach Corrigan's he does a great job with that. That's a major focus. It's not just we're playing half field, 6-on-6. We do a tremendous amount of the full field piece in all of our practices, and we intentionally practice clearing and intentionally practice riding. It's not just happening when we scrimmage or in transition stuff. So we do really value that when we invest a lot of time in that. And you're exactly right. It's something that we work really hard at because we want to be as perfect as possible clearing the ball, and we want to ride the ball back. And we were able to do that on both phases this year.
Cool.
That really helped our success.
Oh, great.
I'd like to ask.
Vinny, was that a good question I got to ask? I got to ask Mr. Sharma. Was that a good question, Vinny?
I'm going to follow up on it because I
Gotcha.
have a little different perspective on it with Woj in the riding, because look, the game has changed in terms of becoming a game where it seems to be a lot of offense defense. So the riding game sort of is not the same as the riding game years ago, because you're running a guy off the field where technically be riding, and it gives an opportunity for the clearing team to maybe get a fast clear and get out, So, how do you balance that? Because you guys did ride. You guys seem to you seem to say, well, we're going to put the pressure on you. We might end up with some of our middies stuck on the field based on trying to ride and not giving you, the free pass out. I had dinner with Darren Lowe, Ivy League player, not that long ago. We were talking about this, and he said, my mindset was, if we did lose the ball, my mindset was never like, I'm going to run to the box, so hopefully we get our defensive personnel on. My mindset was like, I'm taking this ball back and I want to score, maybe even get an easy one.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. It starts with a mentality. Coach Corrigan's mentality of, we are going to be aggressive in the ride. And it doesn't just mean in a 9 or a 10-man ride. It's we ride hard and we ride aggressively, and it's always been a big part of the Notre Dame identity, and especially the last 2 years with the personnel that we've had. How relentless we've been in that ride, and so it starts with our attack. With the Kavanaughs and Jake Taylor, they take as much pride in riding the ball back as they do in scoring a goal. And then that trickles down and permeates through the rest of the team. So we look at it as that's our first line of defense. It's not, hey, I'm a glory attackman here. You guys we'll let them clear it and you guys stop them. It's no, you are the first line of defense. You take tremendous pride in the ride and you work extremely hard to get that ball back. And even if we don't get that ball back, we make the clearing team really work and try to use the full 20. So eventually when they sub, they're down to, 45, 50 seconds to run their offense with the clock. So, but yes, Steve, it's a fine balance in trying to ride it back, but also sub as well, because we want to get our defensive, midfield personnel on.
It will be interesting to see, the analytics on that, just team by team, but especially your team, Notre Dame, because you guys are definitely proficient at it. You had a great riding team. I'd love to see how many second, third chance goals you scored because you turned the other team over in your offensive end of the field, because I just see it as, getting tougher and tougher to score 6-on-6 these days. When you get a settled team, guys always ask me, I mean, I played 100 years, but so I saw the evolution of the game. But, my value as a player was between the lines and back and forth. I don't think I was as good a player as many other guys in just a straight 6-on-6 game, because when you're playing straight 6-on-6, you got guys that may be more valuable as shooters. They're good guys can handle inside. You have to have guys, good dodgers, but when you can play between the lines, you can play for anybody because there's a lot of value in that and you make easier goals. It's, and I know, watching your games, and there are other teams, you're not the only one, but there are teams that, like you would see Duke, for instance, they'd be in a game, it'd be 2-2, and then all of a sudden it'd be 9-2 because they just run away with it because they move from defense to offense so quickly. And maybe part of it was guys were running to the box and they gave odd man situations up. And, you get guys like a Brandon O'Neal and, slick sticks that they had on that team. You give them those opportunities, they're going to put it in the back of the net, So I think that's, it really is interesting seeing the evolution of the game, the substitution patterns, when guys run off, when they run on, should I take it all the way down? Should I take a shot? And like you said, one of the key things, and you see it at the PLL level, the idea is to let a team, play them hard because that's even a shorter shot clock. Now you're getting down, you're leaving a team 15, 20 seconds to play offense. Pretty hard to be in a 6-on-6 situation and score on those short clocks. That's why you see a lot of turnover. These are the best players in the world, but yet they're turning the ball over because that pressure of the clock and everything else forces you to play fast, and not everybody can play fast.
For sure. They look at, there's three attackmen, 3 defensemen out there. It's hard for an attackman to run by a defenseman. He may get leverage here and there, but to consistently beat someone, in today's game is really difficult. So, not just, so the 6-on-6 piece, you need to score in transition, you need to score man up, and you need to try to ride the ball back and get easy goals. I also think there's a psychological element to the riding piece. When you turn a team over, it's a hit, to their flow of their game, the momentum, to them psychologically. And when you could score a goal off of a ride, it's a huge juice goal for your team and the energy that, that builds, and hopefully you can sustain going forward. So I think there's a big psychological piece too, in the middle of the field with the riding game.
So Ryan, I'm looking at your bio and I'm reading some of the stuff, the people you've coached and had success with, and you've had a lot of experience with the formation of the face-off groups. You've had a lot of success with that. And that was kind of one of the things I enjoyed as part of it. I like being a wing guy. What do you look for in terms of, that 3-man unit that goes out there on face-offs?
I mean, listen, you're right. It's all chemistry. You know, if the guys on the wings aren't doing their job, and that doesn't mean picking up the ground ball. It means, you know, keeping the opposing team off of the face-off guy. In our case, we have a great face-off kid in Will Lynch who could play offense. He's very good at picking the ball up. So,
by the way,
Chaminade, quick. You always got to pump those guys. But you know, I don't know. I've always believed in, like, this is silly, but and it started back when I was a student, but we had the kid Adam Rand who just, you know, went on. I think he said at that time, 2009, he was the number one face-off guy. I think it repeated in 2010, but it was like tender love and care. You know, like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not Matt Schomburg or Greg Remlin or some Tommy Kelly for that matter. You know, it's just listening to them and trying to decipher what they're looking for. You know, technically, these guys are wizards, and I'm never going to give them anything that they can use. But what I can tell them is what I see from the opposing unit, and what we're trying to do, and hopefully put them in a great spot. But I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up my butt or yours and tell you that I'm like some wizard. I am not. I just think that spending some time with these guys, you know, taking what they give you and then, you know, hopefully applying it in some way, shape, or form is going to give them the love that they and you know, the need to be appreciated, because it is such an integral part of the game. You know, when we're recruiting or when we're trying to find the right units, obviously picking up a ground ball, I mean, these are 50-50 GBs most times. They're contested. You know, you want guys that are not afraid to get over the top of the ball, run through it, or not afraid to put their body in front of a person. You know, that you got to be, all in all, you know, you got to be blue collar, which I know you were. I mean, you're one of my idols growing up, and obviously walking the halls of Chaminade, not to like blow smoke up your butt, but
Oh, well,
yeah.
don't kill me, Jimmy.
Oh, Smalley's dead now. He's dead now. You don't want to hear.
You
Oh,
get
it's the
to
last thing
I
Smalley
love you,
wanted
but
to
you
hear.
get to me well now. You get to me.
Come on,
Oh,
I think I've hung out with you two guys in
Jim
separate moments.
Amon.
I haven't get the plug in there, man.
oh, Wilder's killing me today.
Well,
Oh,
like I said, you know, whether it's face-offs, what you call the juice goals, you know, whether it's a ride, you turn team over, you got a layup, you know, it's so important to the game, you know. And like I said, you know, you guys are, you know, you're longtime coaches with a lot of experience, and I think that translates. You see it in how your team plays. I mean, they definitely, your recruiting matters. You got some great athletes, you know. You know, it's funny, you mentioned the big guy, the defender that you have. He was only a freshman here, wasn't he?
Charlie.
And I was saying, I was telling Dito, Light, the kid Light, I said, he reminds me of how Di Tommaso used to play. He's not looking to really take the ball away. He's just playing position defense. He's very clean when he gets a ground ball. He's a first-time scooper. He throws it back to the goalie, or he runs himself out of trouble. He's meat and potatoes, that kid. And give me those kind of guys all day long. Those are the kind of players I like. The guys can do it, you know, according to the book, you know. And that I think, you know, that's a credit to coaching too. I think that's, you know, they have to accept that. They might have came in with a little different style, but you mold them into what works for your team. And that's the art of coaching, I guess, you know, molding these guys together and finding that chemistry with guys. You know, I was lucky enough to play with guys, and I played with Norman Engelke, you know, on Long Island for 10 years straight. You know, we ran midfield together, and, you know, it was like, he could just give me, you know, move his head a certain way, and it was telling me, go here, and I'm going to throw it to you. You know, that's the kind of chemistry we developed. And then when he retired, then with my brother playing a lot of years together, you know, they used to laugh in practice, and they'd say, what is that, sombrado backyard play number 4, you know? And yet, if you execute, people still can't stop things when you execute, you know? So I guess from a coaching standpoint, it's best in terms of execution. But I don't want to dominate the conversation, but I did have a question for Woj. And this is one of the things I've always been a proponent of. I don't know how often it happens. And I played at the highest levels, and we rarely did it. But I think the next level across from an offensive standpoint is kind of like, you know, when you play football and a lot of us have played football or even in soccer, you have certain set plays, right? Where in football, they go into a huddle or they call a play at the line, they give an extended, the formation, whatever, and you run a play. I don't see that lacrosse, like you come down a field and you just, let's say you got a Kavanaugh, one of them, he gets the ball at X, it goes out of bounds. He puts his stick up and he says, 32 fly, or something, whatever you're going to call it. And everybody knows right to the spots they go, and everybody in coordination. He picks here, he cuts there, they interchange up at the top, and those are the first looks. And then if nothing happens from there, you play off it. After that, then it's freewheeling from there somewhere. But I don't see that enough. Like when we were little kids, they used to give us plays more than when you're older, when you really can execute it better because of the skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that might be an evolution in the game, Chris?
Yeah, I think it's a great observation to tell you kind of where we are right now. We run a principles based offense, so it's not football scripted or basketball scripted. It's just more a free flowing motion, and I believe that every single time you make a lacrosse play, you're going to do three things. You're going to read the situation, you're going to make a decision, and then they're going to execute. So the way we coach our players is we're empowering them and trusting them to go out and read the situation and make a decision and then execute. So our offense now is very unpredictable because we don't know when we go in the game, we don't know where the ball's going to go, who's going to wind up where, who's going to score. So sometimes we look like we're in a circle. Sometimes we look like there's two on the crease. Sometimes there's one on the crease, and it's all the same offense, and it's one stop shopping, and it's based off of concepts and principles. So it guys really thrive. Really good players. You guys would thrive in this offense because you're smart. You have a high lacrosse IQ, and you're being empowered and entrusted to make those reads. So when we're coaching guys and I'm watching film with them, it's not hey Steve or Vin, you need to cut here or go there. It's hey Steve, what did you see here? And watching film, Steve say, hey, coach, I saw the slide coming top side, so that's where I moved the ball. So there's no when they answer it, it's not this is the absolute one thing you could have done. There's a menu of things you could have done, and that's how we build their lacrosse IQ, obviously through practice and learn. The best teacher of the game is the game. So they're learning and practicing in games, but we use the film not so much to say this is what you have to do, but to empower them because it doesn't matter if Ryan or I know, Coach Corrigan knows what to do. All that matters is what these guys are going to be able to execute, on the field. So to answer, kind of, full circle, we're running a principles based offense. So it's the same thing to us. And we'll make slight tweaks and adjustments to it based off how teams are defending us. But it's all
Chris,
one.
I'm sorry to jump in here. I'm sorry. You made a statement just there. When you're coming to a play, whatever, who's making these calls as a coach on the offense? Is it all you or just Corrigan's mindset? I want to know where Corrigan's mindset. Does he jump in and say, hey, Chris, we got to do this and this when you had everything already set for the week? Does he change plans right in the middle if he doesn't see something right? How does he do it?
Yeah, no, I think coach will be the ultimate decision maker. And if there's, Ryan with the defense and then me with the offense is, we'll be preparing the guys.
What does he do it in game time?
Yeah, if he sees something that he wants to see offensively, yes. Yeah, he'll definitely say, let's run this.
He'll tell the team and say it, or he'll tell you on the side of your ear.
It could be either. Could be either one. He could pull me aside and say, let's run this, or we're in the huddle. He'll just say, hey, let's just run this. So it could be either. And we're constantly communicating throughout the game about, I've got the iPad for the, when we're on D watching what their defense is doing. And then I'll go over to them and say, hey, they're slow to slide off a Taylor or they're sliding a J, whatever it is. And then on the other end, Ryan's got the iPad when we're on offense and he's looking at how teams are attacking us. So throughout the game, we're communicating with Coach Corrigan about what we're seeing on the field, what we're hearing from one of the biggest things is I ask the players when they come off the field, what they're seeing, defensively. And that helps me as well. It's not only just continues to build trust, with the players that, we're
So
asking.
you have a good relationship with Corrigan. I mean, I know he's I don't want to call him an ego, man. He's not ego. We're all egos. But he's a very strong-minded guy because I see him throwing to start once in a while. I get a little did Ryan or Chris say something in his ear he didn't like? I want to know what the guys.
It was probably an official. That was probably why. But he's very, very passionate and very intense, and obviously very competitive. And his coaching style. When he first started coaching, I mean, his assistants were part-time, so he was doing everything. So he had to do everything. And now, obviously, we have 3 full-time assistant coaches and what have you. But we still play a very kind of, I wouldn't call it a half-field game. We're still, with the riding.
The communication,
we're not as football-oriented as some programs are. So, to answer your question, Smalls, is, if he sees something, he's going to tell me or Ryan, or he's going to.
And you guys aren't afraid to talk to him and say, listen, coach, I don't think this is right. I think we should stay to what I was saying. You're able to.
Definitely. We're both, Ryan and I both coaching over 20 years. And
wow,
if we feel strongly about something, we're going to say, hey, I think we should do this.
That's why you won 2 in a row.
We've talked about it, the next level being that, having somebody up in the box, NFL style, because I do notice that, we at Hofstra, we go to a lot of games. Smalls has a box there, and we're a little elevated. It's a perfect, you have such a great view of the field. I really believe from a little elevation, you see things from there that can't see at field level sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, I do think though that because we're allowed to have the iPad on the sideline and we can literally just rewind the game and just watch the play that happened.
Right.
Because we have that, you get that bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Right there. And you also now are on the sideline with your players, talking to them, listening to them, whereas in the NFL, they can only have the still shots. They can't have the actual footage going. So, and they have more coaches. Will it evolve to, if they take away the iPad from us, could it evolve? Sure. But I do think, though, I want to be amongst it. I want to be with the players. I want to be asking them what they're seeing. I want to be able to individually communicate, to those guys and to talk to them throughout the game. Bevin made a point earlier about the offense and the style. What we're trying to do ultimately is create the synergy where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. The 6 guys we put out there, we want ultimately those, those guys to 1 + 1 is greater than 2, so we want, when we put the players out there, it's not just who are the best 6 Dodgers or, who are the best 6 shooters. It's a combination of pieces that create that synergy. So if you saw our team this year, we had, the Kavanaughs are both really good with the ball. Eric Dobson, very good with the ball. And then Jordan Faison's emergence and his athleticism, really good with the ball. We had, the 5th and 6th guys, ultimately we felt we need guys that are just pure goal scorers and are great off ball and are great at helping set the other guys up. We don't need 2 more Dodgers, or we don't need 2 more athletes. And so it's
less is more. So
to create that synergy. So, I know Vin, you in the podcast last week, you were talking about the PLL, how a lot of these guys that have the good IQ, if they switch teams or, they switch roles, those guys can come in and be great fits. And ultimately that's, I believe, the same thing. I want guys that are offensively that have great IQ. The best players in the world aren't just necessarily the best athletes. You can argue who's the best player in the world right now, but I don't think anyone can argue that Jeff Teat is not playing.
Oh, I love that kid, Teat. That's my boy.
The best player in the world. There's 8 teams, 24 starting attackmen. If you ranked him athletically to the 24, I think he's more athletic than people think, but he's not in the top group athletically. His lacrosse IQ and his execution and his smarts and his ability to distribute and make decisions and score. There's no one playing like him, but he's not athletically like a lot of these other guys.
He's not like a Grant Jr., somebody like that. Who's
Yeah,
hitting?
so who could just beat people. He's really smart how he gets leverage. So
Oh,
I think the lacrosse IQ piece, kind of you touched on recruiting as well. Being able to recruit that and also develop that is the most important thing from an offensive perspective. We get athletes. We're lucky at Notre Dame. We get great athletes, but we're not just recruiting great athletes. We're recruiting great high IQ lacrosse players that are going to be pieces that fit into a 6-man unit to create a synergy where the whole is better than the sum of the parts.
Right.
That's a great point. See, don't let Vinny short sell himself. He's talking about he's good between the lines, and yeah, he could do everything. Vinny could do anything, but Vinny's greatest talent and skill was his leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came to Long Island, and there were other guys, and he learned that from the greats, the Ronnie Fraziers and the Tom Postels and many others, John Phillips running the team. But you came in very quickly with Long Island Lacrosse Club, and you knew that whatever it was only about the team. It was only about the sum of all the parts. There were always a right and a wrong play. And I saw a lot of guys that came in and couldn't fit in with that and didn't last, that were either in and out quickly and, just didn't fit in. And once you do get that chemistry of guys, you become potent. You really do. And that's, you definitely see it with your team, because like Vinny had said before, it's not like, you're watching the Kavanaughs, they're playing attack, but all of a sudden they're both up top and different guys are behind and now they're on the wing. Guys are flying all over the place. And,
hey, Steven, in all due respect, excuse me, Vinny played on the Dream Team. Brendan Sneg, yes, come on. He played on the Dream Team. I want to give him credit too, but you don't think too much credit? The guy was on the Dream Team.
There were guys. Listen, before North Hempstead even arrived, and the emergence of New York AC. I mean, you wonder how anybody even got on the field. They had 5 Hall of Famers on the team. But it always had that. It was the leadership. Long Island was able to sustain success because there was always an element of leadership there. And Vinny's the bridge, because Vinny was the bridge that actually bridged the Tom Postels going back that way from when Richie Moran was coaching the team. Obviously Vinny wasn't on the team then, but that age groups all the way through the 90s. So,
but how do you teach leadership to a guy like Ryan? He's a great, that's another job within itself. He's got to teach people, young people that come into the game, to be a leader. Now, how is that done?
I'll ask Ryan. Let's
ask Ryan. Yeah,
his experience at Navy, because that's a whole different level of leadership and different type of kid that you're getting. Your years at that, has that had a great effect in terms of overall on your philosophies and
yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, holy smokes, I don't know when I got there. I remember J.L. Reppert, who's now the head coach at Holy Cross, and we were just like walking around. He was also on the initial staff when we got there, and he's like, "This place is, it's a leadership laboratory, and every day you're going to be exposed and talked to and be around, our nation's best leaders." And at first, I was just happy to be there. Patriotic young man, and I'm going to coach these kids and yada yada. But as you mature as an adult, I was like, wow, he was right. And being exposed to the Navy SEALs on a daily basis, or whoever that was, some of these guys I still talk to that don't even play lacrosse. They're just some people that come in your lives and you connect with. And I think Woj has got a lot of these qualities in himself. It's the pure mentality, pure accountability. Being willing to listen and understand what somebody else is going through, not necessarily your own, not how you see it. Leadership, I think, is different for all of us. It means different things. There's different ways of being leaders. How you receive leadership is 100% it, though. And, not every kid likes to get told what to do, how to do it, when to do it. They don't want to be in a regimented system. Where there's kids that love that and they thrive in it. So I think part of leadership, or the job of a leader, is to adapt and not be pigeonholed into being one thing. You know, leadership again is different for Smalls than it is for you, Stephen, it is for Vinny, it is for Chris, it is for me. It's kind of a buzzword, and great leaders have the ability to adapt to the room. I think guys like Liam mentioning Jack Kilty here at Notre Dame, tremendous leaders. Patty Cav, he let his play do his talking. It wasn't all verbal. Yeah,
More Chaminade, guys.
Um,
More Chaminade, guys.
Yeah,
How many plugs is that, by the way? I'm getting like 5 months of plug here.
I don't love you, man.
We've got some
Oh,
Chaminade.
man.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Well, Stevens Young kid, excuse me, Ryan. I just want to plug Stevens Young. We nicknamed him Sticks. It's got like pogo sticks. The kid, but his son, he's going
Let's
to
go.
Salmon down, enjoying a nice little career in football, basketball, and lacrosse. He's like a 3-sport kind of guy. But I don't know if he's going to play
man.
football this year. But I want to congratulate
Yeah,
him and his family. And
Yeah,
son on
congrats,
that,
by the
you
way.
know?
Can't get enough good flyers out there. So
Thank you.
I'm glad to hear it. If I can help in any way, please let him know. I'm a phone call away. But anyways, I think leadership's
Great.
different. I really do. I don't think there's any right answer. I think there's tremendous leaders. We all have examples of those, and in a lot of ways, they're probably different. You know, how is a great leader? Whoever you want to pick, you know, good for you as it is for me. It could be completely different, but the quality is there. So I'm not sure I can answer that. You know, definitely not cookie cutter.
You guys have been coaching a while now. You know what I would also ask maybe for Woj, you like, is it from when you were in your Harvard days and your younger days coaching, the emergence of social media and the way these kids are? What do you see it? Do you find it different for you from those earlier years?
Definitely. There's obviously from all of us, there was always outside noises from the parents, from the fans, from the public, but we didn't have it plastered all over the internet, and anonymous people can critique you, every step of the way, so that has changed. So, I really, empathize with today's generation, because there's a lot of stuff they got to deal with, with social media and everything that they hear. And everyone's, Ryan touched on, everyone is really different. Some kids are going to thrive off of that. If someone's talking about them in a negative light on social media, that kid thrives off of that. Other kids, they go in a shell, so being a leader today is you got to be extremely dynamic and be able to, coach the person. And everyone is different. Some of these kids are going to need a kick in the butt. Others are going to need a pat on the shoulder, so ultimately, I think, one of the things Ryan and I, try to do is establish trust, with the players, and develop, it starts with developing those personal relationships, modeling good character, being competent, and then creating connection on an individual basis, and we did that. And it trickles down to, the last 2 seasons, we've had 4 captains. This one of the captains the last 2 years is a young man, Max Manick, who you guys would never even heard of. He never stepped on the field, but he was as important to our culture. He was as important to us winning the national championship as anyone. And, what he did to build trust and establish connection and continue to build the culture. I think what he did really well is he helped, every sense of belonging. Everyone matters on the team. Everyone is valued. Everyone has an important role. Not just the leading scorer, but the 60th player on the roster. You have an important role. You're helping, not just get better yourself, but you're helping prepare in your scout role, your teammates. So I think that was as big as anything for us these last 2 years, is our culture of a sense of everyone's valued, everyone's important, everyone's rowing the boat in the same direction. And I think, again, that's where leadership is challenging. Because you have the kid, most of the kids don't play in the game, and how do you get those kids to buy in and believe that they're valued and believe that they play an important part of moving this team forward?
Well, a lot of those kids, they're still pretty good, because I kept saying all season long with your team, I'm like we're watching the games in the beginning, and then I'm like, who's this guy? Where's this guy? 33.
Yeah.
Where's he been all year? He's good.
Yeah.
And then
I got a question for Ryan.
one after the
The
other.
fans here. I got a question for Ryan. Now, Benny, help me out, because I got the experts. I can't get it out. I'm having trouble here, Lewis. Try to understand it now, man. Help me.
Luca Brazzi again.
What opposite coach this year? Listen to the question. What opposite coach other than your team, did you learn the most? Here we go. That shit. Billy's the. You learned the most from this year where you might use some of their influence in your own game of coaching going down? Like, what opposite coach?
Great question, man. I don't know.
Oh, Brian, hold on. This is why when I was young, I couldn't grow, because I love Vinny, but he stifled me. He's a wonderful lacrosse player, but as a plug,
That sounds like a.
I don't know.
Well, let me just say this.
I'm kidding.
When Smalley starts reading a question like that,
Yeah,
means
no doubt.
somebody
That
probably
sounds like
just
a
sent them
Tommy
a text.
Dale or Steve
Yes,
Legard or
I-
whoever the
I-
heck
I- hold
is
on,
doing it.
Vinny.
Close up.
Oscar, I'm not good at that word either.
And so, yeah, the question is, if I'm getting it right,
Translate.
what have you learned? What have you learned from maybe opposing coaches that can help
Okay.
you?
So
That's
you
the question.
want to know
Yeah.
who? No,
You
no.
could-
I'm,
if
I'm
you don't
happy
wanna
to.
name
Listen,
who,
I
it would
have,
be-
and I say
might
this
hurt
all the
you a
time,
little
and we
bit.
didn't play them, but I have the utmost and tremendous amount of respect for Joe Alvarez, and in particular, yeah,
Oh my God!
yeah,
That's my
like
favorite guy in the game.
who he is as a person. You start
Love
there,
him.
and then you actually watch his teams. Kyle Dallas, who also
man.
coaches defense there. Like that's a really good defense every
Woo.
year, and they're so fundamentally sound. So how, like that team in particular and that defense, their philosophies, I'm a big fan. It, obviously I was a 9-year competitor against Army, and Coach
Oh,
A and I
wow.
have developed that rivalry, but I have tremendous respect for him, and I would never say a bad word about him as a person and as a coach. He's a tremendous coach. He's able to. So
Wow,
like,
it's
there's other
cool.
guys. I think Gabe Weston, I think what you'd say the same. Like every opposing staff has a quality that you would like to use and adapt for
yeah.
your own program. Whether you can do that or not is completely different. I have a lot of respect for a lot of guys in our game, and that like I said,
Just
Yeah,
good people in the game.
he comes to mind
overall,
for
is
me
what I'm saying,
personally.
Yeah.
I just can't say enough great things.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
teams
you,
are
Benny,
so-
for helping me today. Benny, come
You
on.
did good, Spurs. You did good.
Scotty. You know what that means? I only have one curd for it. When I'm in a restaurant and the guy's serving me bad food or something. Scotty, go fuck
Scotty.
yourself. Where's my steak? Serve it right. I like it well done. He gives it to me rare. Scotty. This was Scotty.
I got a question on the recruiting, because I know you guys are very much into the recruiting, and much was made, talking about Pat Kavanaugh being, sort of a little under the radar. What advice would you give to the, many kids that are out there that are maybe under the radar, maybe they're, not fully developed yet, they're fighting, to stay above water in terms of loving the game, and that, in terms of being seen or feeling, I'm sure a lot of parents probably thinking that as well. What advice would you give to them in terms of how to move forward in that process?
Yeah, I would, I have a young son, 12 years old, daughters that are 10, 6, and 8, if God willing, any of them are good enough to play college sports, Division 1, 2, or 3, I'm going to be extremely happy. I look at even though we coach at Notre Dame, I look at it differently, holistically, the value of being a part of just a team, and in a men's sport, being a part of a brotherhood. And that's in high school, club, and then ultimately in college. So you could play at a Division 3 school, but it's still, you're playing the game you love with a brotherhood and an experience of a lifetime. So to me, that's what it's all about there. And then the second piece to me is not, when I look at schools, again, God willing, my son's good enough. It's not what offense or defense they're going to run. It's who do I trust as a man with my son? What the coaching staff as people, their character, who they are as people. That's to me, because this is your college lacrosse experience. It's a transformational experience from a boy to a man. And so, again, I guess I got a little different perspective on it. Those are what the important things to me now, in terms of giving advice just never let the music die. The passion you have for the game, all you can control is putting your best foot forward and giving your best. You're not gonna, it's not your choice. Coach Wellner and Corrigan and Garnsey and I, we're gonna hopefully recruit 10, 11, 12 kids, and there's going to be a lot of kids that are going to be disappointed that wanted to go to Notre Dame, and that's the reality of it. But there is a spot for everyone if you just continue giving your best and persevere and just keep fighting. So really, to me, those three things. If you have an opportunity to play, obviously, and then ultimately, just continue to follow your passion in your heart and give everything you got. That's all you can do.
I agree with all of what he just said. That's for sure, Woj. I agree with that. I hear some people, be critical of club lacrosse, and I have my own criticisms of some of the club lacrosse. But I hear, I go to some of these games to watch friends' kids and stuff, and I hear guys, who say, this kid's not going to be a D1 player. He's not this, he's not that, or whatever. And I turned and I said, do you understand how few, what the percentages are of the guys are going to be at that level? You got to realize the value that's here right now is that your kid is making friendships, learning how to interact with people, learning to be part of a team. It could serve them. Take the positive aspects from it. Don't downplay the fact that a kid is, or say, a kid is not going to be a D1 player, because I remember Ryan Boyle one time, I saw a video of him. He ran a camp or something, and he had the parents sitting in the gym, and he went through the numbers of, what's reality of your kid being a D1 player and getting a scholarship, and maybe to a lot of those parents, they thought just because their kid was going to these camps or playing on a certain team, that was going to happen for them, but it doesn't. So they should take away the positive things from a kid being involved in sports. And, what's the alternative? What's your kid going to be doing if they're not doing that? They're going to be a hermit in their room online all day, or what are they doing? Not getting exercise, or, It's not saying that sports is everything, but you hope that there's like some kind of a healthy environment that you can learn a lot of things from. And I always believe that that's what I always enjoyed about sports. That's, like I said, one of the things that kept me playing for a long time. I loved being part of a team.
Really, you just killed all the hermits.
But
Oh,
I
my God.
had so many tremendous teammates that felt the same way. We just, that's why I always said it's funny. You have a short shelf life for most guys that, you play Division I lacrosse, say you come out, not as a pro league, but even at that, most guys they're hitting 30 and it's over. And we laugh about it. I got the shirt off, Florida Lacrosse Classic. What ended up happening is guys get a little older. They can't play pro, or they're not playing club at the time. And they develop these, what I call geezer tournaments. It started out as like 30 and older, and then 40 and older. And then now they got team 70. It's like this game gets in people's blood, and it's the camaraderie, and it's that's why you could go to Placid and see over 100 teams playing of all different ages. There's something to that, And I always would say, maybe the Native Americans were onto something, calling it the medicine game or whatever. But it made it like, people just gravitate towards the sport, Once you have it in your blood, it adds so much more. It can add so much more. For some people, they could look at it as a waste of time, but it tells me something that when you see guys trucking down to Florida or to Vail or to Lake Placid year after year, there's something to it, and those things are great. But you add in a great college experience like your guys had, like you just mentioned, the kid, that he didn't get on the field, but that guy, he's gained so much respect from his teammates because his teammates realize his value. Maybe we don't know about it, but that's good enough for him too, that his teammates realize how much he's had an effect on the team. And that's all great stuff as far as I'm concerned.
It's really refreshing and healthy, and really, just an awesome perspective, and I feel the same way. Playing sports is a transformational experience. It's not to get a scholarship to go play, at school X. It's the life lessons you're learning, the fun you're having, and your development as a person. And I think you see in all sports, but we see it obviously in lacrosse because we're in it. It's more approached as a transaction. The parents are transactional. I'm investing $6,000 in club lacrosse this summer. My kid's got to get a scholarship. And if you're a fully funded Division I lacrosse program, you have 12.6 scholarships. We had 60 guys on the team this past year. You do the math. Most of the kids are paying all to almost all in tuition to play at Notre Dame, and that's the same thing, everywhere. So if you look at it as a transaction, it's going to be unhealthy. You're going to probably be disappointed because only the 1% are getting a lot of money to go play college lacrosse or to go, to get money in NIL. So it's great to hear, that's a really, I agree, how the positive benefits of just playing sports.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I got a question here. I'm jumping here because we're always so serious. I got to break it up a little bit. If you had to, Vinny's going to laugh again. He loves his questions. If you had to rate yourself, on a whole, so now on 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how humble are you in the word? Hold on. Look at Vinny. He can't help it.
Well, spit it out, for God's sake.
I can't get it out because Vinny don't let it happen.
I didn't say a word. How easily I could shut guys down? I don't even have to do anything.
That's true, Vinny. He does.
My reputation precedes me.
He does.
Take your top defender. The guy didn't
How
go
humble
on.
are you?
He was afraid of him.
Since you came on board, how humble have you became while you're coaching Notre Dame as opposed to other teams? On a scale of 1 to 10.
That's a hard one. I would say, just to answer it first, I would say, we won these last 2 years because we have incredible talent and we have a great culture. So, I know, Coach Garnsey, Coach Wellner, and I have added and contributed to that, but we're not winning, without the talent we have and the.
So what number? I mean, this is your self-perception of yourself.
I think the best coaching job I ever did in my career was 2008 at Bowdoin College, and no one would even know anything about that.
Right.
So we made it to the NCAA tournament.
What college? Bowdoin?
Bowdoin. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't even know.
It's up in Maine.
I didn't even make fun of it. Cracking up.
Yeah. So it's cold up there, Smalls. It's really cold up there. It's in Brunswick, Maine. But I think that's the best coaching job I ever did in my career. So, but it's been. I don't really know how to put a number on that, quite honestly.
Well, you had to give yourself a number just in general.
There's thousands of variables that go into it.
The guy didn't give you a number. Live with it. Leave it alone.
Chris, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for asking the question, but he's all over.
No. More importantly, I want to congratulate you on going 3-1 on the PLL picks last week. Where's the love for Smalls? Where's the love for Smalls? And I want to know, are you playing? Is Shami training you up? And are you playing in Placid as a face-off guy? Because if you are, I'm coming up.
I tell you what now.
That is a question.
That's a question. I tell you, hold on a second.
Watch
if I get a heart attack and die, Vinny would be my eulogy guy. But I gotta ask for. Look at him. You don't let me live. I could be so much more if it wasn't for Vinny. I gotta go. The next
I'm holding him back.
Let me give Ryan.
You got a question. There's a question on the floor. Are you playing in Placid?
I don't have a helmet. I can't ask that Hall of Famer. What's his name, Vinny?
Ronnie Frazier. We're going to borrow Ronnie Frazier. The only
Chris, I'll be honest with you. I have an 8 3/4 head. It's the biggest head. They don't have helmets that fit it. They go up to 8. That's the biggest size. They don't have a mold. So
I want to see baby Huey on a lacrosse field. Come see Smalls at Lake Placid.
But I'll ask the same question to Ryan. Piggyback on Chris, where did you coach? He brought up a coaching job in that place that he did good. And rate yourself as how humble are you on a scale of 1
listen,
to
we
10?
just spent the last hour and 20 talking about other great coaches. I am nowhere close to those guys. So I'm gonna freaking wait. 10 is the best, right? 1 is the least.
They give yourself a
I'm
6,
going
7,
below.
like
Gotta-
that. That
listen,
probably be
again, I think it's just being around great athletes and great people. So I'm gonna go
No,
1.
you-
Yeah, I wouldn't go. Listen, you guys understand it. Now, you've done a great job. Let's put it this way: when you talked about luck before, you talked about a lot of things. It's not it's not a mistake that of you guys came in there. You've added a lot to the program, and in a short period of time, you won 2 championships. It
Really,
was
are they
head-
the reasons why they won?
I think so. I think they're a big reason why they won.
I mean, the guy is coaching
They've
32.
been there 5 years. They finally got over the hump.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things.
They
but they got over
went
the
back
hump.
to back. It's
That's not
these are
true,
teams-
Steven. You're making a
Well-
small statement.
well, this is a team game.
They
This
coached in
is
7 years. What do you mean they got over the hump?
The team has been.
The coach is coaching 36 years in the game.
I
They
understand.
didn't. He's saying they won a championship. They won a national championship.
I'm saying they picked up 2 great kids. These kids.
I think Corrigan did a great job. I mean, let's think about the history. They were when I was in college, they were like the automatic Western team that was going to get beat up
Knocked out.
in the first round of the playoffs. That was like a charity, like you guys automatically get a team in and you're getting hammered. Then all of a sudden it's like, wow, they didn't get hammered. They're starting to get pretty good. Then they become relevant, and then although having those tough times in those championship games and those playoffs, it's a building process. Corrigan built it, but he brings in 2 very experienced, good coaches that have had a tremendous impact along with Coach Corrigan and along with anybody else who's
Yeah.
involved in that recruiting.
They were a great fit for the program.
The administrators.
Question for
And now
Vinny.
they've gotten over the top. Now they're the hunted. They're
They're
no
the
longer
hunted.
the
The question
hunter.
for
They're
Vinny.
the hunted.
Vinny, according to my crystal ball, you know how I look at my ball, they will 3-peat. And when they 3-peat, Vinny,
Oh boy, that was
excuse me, let me finish because I can't get it out. I can't get it out. Vinny, they're not listening. They act like they're not listening. Vinny, will they be considered with the Gates as a great team? Would you put them up with a 3-peat with the Gates and all that? Because I would. I might consider them better than Pittsfield to being the best in the game. That's my opinion. You got to put them up there 3 years in a row at this era, in this time, in this era. For 3, think about it.
You're comparing different eras. I think it's a tremendous feat today because of how many more it's spread. There are so many other great players, Syracuse, but we had this conversation on another show, like what team could be, that Syracuse team could play against them. We had this conversation when Matty Palin was on. That was a phenomenal team by their last year. I mean, we even talked about it. Their sophomore year when they won, their junior year when they won, they had some close games. Even they had a tough game with Penn where they pulled it out. I think it was the 70s or something.
That was 88.
Yeah, they won by a goal. They beat Hopkins in a close game, championship in '89.
Right.
By 90, that 90 team was a juggernaut.
You're telling me the Gates could beat Notre Dame today? I think it'll be a tremendous game. I think it'll be a game.
I'd answer the question differently. If they're able to do it, if they were able to do it, I certainly would put them. They would be in with those elite.
They gotta be.
They would have to be. Obviously,
Yes.
because
No, that's
not a lot of
obvious.
teams can do
I
it.
mean, a team wins 3 years in a row, national championship. You're an elite company. There's no
elite
question
company.
about it. But when you're comparing eras of who could win in a game matched up, that Syracuse team's a pretty dominant team. It would be probably a great game.
Vinny, that's because you know them. You couldn't even name me. I'm not going to put you on the spot, Vinny, because I love you. You couldn't name me all the midfielders that they have on the team. They're like, I
On
couldn't
what
even
team?
name. On Notre Dame. You couldn't name me 5 midfield. But I'm just saying, my point is, they're so
You
well
don't
balanced.
What? On their team.
What?
Four of
By
them
the way,
were Shaman.
Riley Gray, another shaman came on.
I'm kidding you now, but I'm just saying, my main point is for the fans is, I think this team I didn't see that team back in the gates, and I know the gates are the gates because everything. But this is practically the best team I've ever seen in my life, probably.
You're watching lacrosse for about 4 years.
Yeah. So,
And who
That's
knows
right.
how much he's even watching?
He
He's
came out of
at the hot
mothballs.
dog stand.
He came out of mothballs. This guy walked into the Green Turtle in East Meadow after being on sabbatical for about 30 years. Nobody saw him. I thought he left the state. I thought he was living in North Carolina. And I'm in the Green Turtle at an event for Long Island, a team event, and who comes creeping in? Smalls. I said, what is Smalley doing here? And that's it. The
I just
rest
got
is
I have a
history.
question for Smalls.
but
though.
Vinny, you got one thing. For 4 years, I put everything into the game. Have I not? In
You
4
put
years.
everything- And you brought a lot of joy to the game, a lot of fun and a lot of action. Yeah, I gotta give you
I
credit
gotta ask
where
Smalls a
credit's
question
due.
though, because every week I tune in, I'm like trying to decipher what are you in a closet? Like what's happening behind you? I think I got some files. I think I can read the files, but what else is happening back there? Is that a bed?
Well, it's funny. It's funny. The guy came once. The guy came for a delivery. My wife wanted some furniture. He comes out with 9 pieces of furniture. Vinny, I swear to God, I'm cursing. Take it back. You got 4 couches for free from a company. What's he in there yet? He's a couch right here.
Ryan, to learn one thing about Smalls. He likes to ask a zillion questions. Usually he starts with what's your net worth. He starts with that.
I
Well,
do
he-
have.
Zillion questions.
Yeah.
But you don't like answering any. About
Hold on. I got something.
You don't like answering the question. You don't like nobody knowing what his thing is. You know,
Hold on.
that's
Hold on.
how we roll.
I got somebody who chimed in. This is for Ryan. Let me get it out because I get killed.
Here we go.
They won't put another ornament. Just a couple things with Ryan. Ryan Wellner grew up a block away from the
That's
O'Connell
that's
family.
correct.
Is that true, Ryan? Both sisters named Teresa Ann and Marie O'Connell were Ryan's
Correct.
only babysitters. Oh my God. Tim O'Connell was the county deputy chief of office. I can't see it. And used to get Ryan the field
That's correct.
for lacrosse. Oh my God. Ryan Wellner also was an All-American hockey player and Chaminade lacrosse player at
Correct.
Chaminade. Ryan Wellner recruited Michael O'Connell for lacrosse when he was coaching at both Navy
Correct.
and then Notre Dame. This is sick. The O'Connell family are big fans of Ryan.
Thank Timmy for
Ryan
sending
Wellner.
those questions in.
Now the best one. So here he is. Take your hats off for a day. Relax. The next question's going to be a little odd. Vinny's going to kill me. Whatever. It's not too bad. Ryan, is it true that General
Oh,
Mills cereal wanted to use your face for the cover of Lucky Charms cereal?
Yes, this is true.
All right. So we're going to send you a box of Lucky Charms along with the hat that I
love
have here. It's called Last Life. It's a brand Vinny, Steve, and I came up with. I lost 12 friends on 9/11. If you can see close, I don't know, those 2 lines are the Twin Towers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You see them? And that's the flag. In memory of my buddies, it's popped out for being on the show and everything. And you guys are great friends now. Friends of mine forever with Vinny and them. We're going to send you a little package. Just send hidden
Appreciate
sides
it,
into
guys.
your shirt and your hat. And you also, Coach, will get one of these hats and a nice shirt from Lost 12 Friends on 9/11.
And here's the other thing. We talked about this because we got to take it on the road.
Yeah.
Didn't you say we were going out to Notre Dame? We were coming.
Yeah, we're
That's
gonna-
right.
I'm telling you something right now. I've been alive for 64 years, going to be 65. It's the only college I've ever wanted to go to. I've been to every college, the top 100.
All right,
Never been
doors-
to
the
Notre
door's
Dame.
open. You guys should do the show from Notre Dame. How about
We're
that?
coming.
When you guys
Yeah.
got to come out for a football game.
Do you
gotta
guys
come
got
out for a
pull there?
We
You
got
got
pull, man.
pull?
Oh yeah.
Do they
got
treat you right? Do the other coaches in the athletic rooms say hello
It's
to
a
you,
little
or they
different
treat you
now,
like a
Smalls.
stepchild? Oh,
No,
since you
they've always
won.
treated us well here.
Oh, I got. Oh, they do. They treat you like okay. That's cool.
So I'm going to tell you a funny Notre Dame story about Richie Moran. I know you guys know Richie
Oh, yeah.
Moran, right? So Richie, he's a very religious guy. He very, he was a veteran, the whole bit. Richie can't be more patriotic and all of that, but he loved Notre Dame. So he goes down to Notre Dame with his wife, and he's got his agent who he end up writing a book and the whole bit. And he's down at Notre Dame, and I guess he's by the grotto, and a couple people are looking at him, and they walk over and they ask him to take a picture, and he says, sure. So, one family comes, he takes a picture with the husband and wife, and then another one, and two or three, and they walk away. And he says to his agent, he goes, geez, I never realized even down at Notre Dame, like they know who I am. And the guy says, again, thank you, Mr. Horning. They thought he was
That's
Paul Horning. Richie told me that story. He says, they thought I was Paul Horning. I thought I
man.
was had a little fame. And the guy says to me, thanks for
my
the
God.
photo, Mr. Horning.
That is
That's
great.
awesome.
But that was Richie. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
legend right there. Richie Moran, boy.
Great man and coach.
I'm going to I just have to just say this. We talked about, and especially Chris, from an offensive standpoint, your teams, the way you do play offense reminds me a lot of those, the 81, 82 Carolina teams, kind of freewheeling and giving the guys the freedom and trust, which made them very successful. Willie Scruggs was that kind of a coach. And Roy Simmons was that kind of a coach with Syracuse. He kind of let them do. So there's a lot to be said with that. But on the other hand, there have been coaches, Richie Moran, he was more of a, scripted type of guy. He had certain sets that he had them run, and maybe the most legendary guy in terms of really scripted and the way he liked to coach the game was Henry Ciccarone at Hopkins, because I talked to guys who played at that time from him, and they said, oh, I'm not a guy who could shoot. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, no, there's only certain guys he even allows to shoot. So now they won enough national championships too, doing it that way. So I guess the game has changed. I like this. I like a bit of both. I like a mix of both, because I think there's time. You just got to let guys play, and and it makes it more fun for guys, as a player. But on the other hand, I think a lot of times when it comes down to crunch time, I don't know how many times, like I watch these PLO, I think it's hysterical. They call a timeout. They get 3 timeouts a game or something. Got to use one in the first half, and they save the 2. And, so now they call a timeout. It's key part of the game. They're down 1, and whether or not they're going to take a 2 or not, they come in the huddle. They get their 6 offensive guys there. You're going to be here. You're going to be there. They go through the whole thing. And then they go out, and on the whistle, first pass, they throw it over the guy's head out of bounds.
Right.
I mean, you're an offensive coach. You got to go nuts when something like that happens. Well,
Nah,
the first
you know,
pass the guy makes, they don't even do anything what the coach
Right.
just told them. So,
Right.
and that's the highest level. So
Yeah.
I know that, there's something to be said that, when you are coaching either younger kids or at a top, younger kids, it's hard because they don't have the skill level. You're in like the real sweet spot of lacrosse where guys have to kind of listen to you, your coach,
yeah.
compared to some of this other stuff. And it makes it fun as a coach. So you both were accomplished players. Let me ask you this. Did you get more satisfaction as being a player or as a coach? For both of you.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly say as a coach, because I think Ryan and I are similar people. We're selfless people, and it warms our hearts how much gratification and satisfaction and happiness you get from seeing these young men that you love achieve something together. It's like they're children. We all have children. To me, I get more satisfaction from seeing my children be happy and doing something well, than myself. So I would say, I would say as a coach.
How about you, Ron?
Like that answer, Smalls? I like that answer. What do you think? You wasn't paying attention, so you know.
No, I
don't-
was, but your friend they keep calling us. They want to ask questions.
Yeah. See, I told you, he didn't hear any of it. But I agree. I can see where you could get a lot of
You're
satisfaction.
talking
from
about
that.
self.
It's like the
Selfless.
guy. It's like the guy who rather make the assist than score the goal.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's a different feeling. It's a different vibe. If, you know, some people,
Yeah.
you feel better about.
These two guys are good guys, bro. I like these guys.
Yeah,
Guys, you guys are my
Appreciate
friends
you,
for
man.
life, bro. Anything,
It's-
man.
yeah, no, that's awesome. And Stephen, that point is huge. I mean, we recognize, value, promote the guy getting the hockey assist, the guy making the hidden play. You know, we're constantly in the film room. We're highlighting those hidden plays that don't show up in the box score. That the pick the guy set, you know, the pass that he made that led to another pass and a goal. You know, you look at you know, Eric Dobson this year. People were critical of him this year because he didn't have as many goals this year as he did last year. But the way teams were playing us this year is they were short stick him and they were sliding early. So in order for our offense to be the best it can be, it required him beating his guy, moving the ball, and not getting the assist, probably getting the hockey assist, or, you know, we get the ball to the backside. And he's you know, exemplified kind of our, you know, team first mentality of, you know, he could have scored 3 goals a game if we wanted to. You know, he's 6'5", 235, and
Right.
But he, and you know, when talking to him and coaching him, it's like, you know, Eric, we need you to beat your guy and be the party starter and move the ball.
Right.
And you're not going to get as many goals as assists because of that.
What's his
and
full
he's-
name?
he's-
What's his?
Eric Dobson. You know, and he said, "Hey, coach, is that going to help us win?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like,
Right.
"I'm all in. I'm all in."
Wow,
You know, so
Eric
this is a-
Dobson, man, that kid's
kid
awesome.
who, you know, again, we have a selfless group. You know, we always, there's a great John Wooden quote, you know, always talk about the guys. It's amazing what you can accomplish when no one cares or receives the credit.
That's right.
And we had a group that
Wow.
embodied that and exemplified that, and they played that way. And, you know, it helps when your quarterback, Pat Cavanaugh, is a pass first guy as well.
Chris, say that again, that thing. I want to write that down.
Yeah.
What is that? Seriously.
John Wooden, you know, obviously, you know, legendary basketball coach, but an outside influence on my coaching philosophy. It's amazing what you can accomplish when no one cares or receives the credit.
Is that your saying or that's the
No, John Wooden. John Wooden, UCLA basketball. Yeah, he's John Wooden, the you know, the legend. You know, so but that's kind of what our team, you know, and then the way we played offense really embodied. You know, that these guys, you know, they shared the ball, we moved the ball, we didn't really care who was getting the goal or the assist, and ultimately offensively we were, you know, more efficient this year, even though Eric didn't have as many goals. You know, so he helped set other guys up, and all he cared about was winning.
I think that's a great point. I as teams that I've coached or I help coach, I make it a point, because I can spot those things. I make it a point always to grab that kid on the side and let him know that his play made the difference of a successful play. I think it's important to communicate that to the guys, to, you know, maybe it's a little words of encouragement, but maybe it's just the fact that I want in his head to understand the value, and every other guy should know that value, that each of those little plays make the difference for success. And that's how you win championships. And that's when I came to Long Island, amongst other things, and learning really how to play lacrosse. I mean, the first experience in Long Island, Vinny's throwing me a ball, the guy's right on me. I mean, the guy's touching me. And he's like, but you're open. He's not looking at you.
That all sounds good, Stephen.
No, but it's true. And
It
then,
sounds good, but I got a bone to pick with actually Welder and Chris a little bit. I got to push back on something. May I, Vincent? Can I get a word in, Vinny?
Go ahead.
Here's a very, very big point, and Stephen, I'm a little upset with Stephen also, because Stephen didn't tell me something.
Battle, let's go.
The way you guys treat referees and stuff like that is really not right, and I'm looking to promote the game.
Wait a second here.
Oh, he gets on.
If you let me finish, it would be more complimentary, because I'll be able to get it out. But no, the way referees are treated in the game as far as respect, and I know on behalf of Ryan and Chris, they'll actually agree with me 100%. We have to treat them better as people and stuff. We're yelling at them. We're running in their face. We're throwing arms and water. It's insane what we do to them. To respect that because they don't get a play right or they don't get it.
Did the referee lobby paying you money or something?
No, excuse me, though.
Every week he's bringing up referees.
No,
Support the zebra. He's got a shirt. Support the zebras.
because we don't do enough for that. These are
Right.
people.
What we're talking about here today. We did that with Paylon.
But I want them to realize how important they are in the game to give them some love once in a while, not kill them. I don't know what type of guys these guys are, but I'm sure they've killed referees in their life because I don't want to bring up my friend over here, but he likes to kill the referees too.
Oh, wait. Slow down. First of all, these referees that these guys are dealing with are the top of the game.
I didn't ask that. I'm saying, how do they treat them?
I think you treat them great. You don't think?
I'm going to ask them, have they been treating them bad? Or because it's not right. We have to treat. Everybody has to. I'm not picking on no individual. We're better people, so everybody has to treat the game better. And I think that's an area where we can respect the game more. Because as kids see this, it translates over into these farm leagues like the 91 lacrosse, and everybody's yelling at the referees, and it's just where I see it. It's not right. It's not part of the game. That's professional. It doesn't teach our kids good. And that's the only thing I want to say negative on the podcast today. Sorry.
No, it's an extremely hard job.
I'm sorry.
You're right. To make a split-second decision from the vantage point you are in a quick hitting play, it's a extremely hard job. So I think if you have that attitude and approach, the grace you in terms of dealing with officials. Now you're going to, certainly if you disagree, you're going to share that. But I think, for starters, the approach of it's such a hard job.
We have to treat them better, don't we? Yeah. I mean, as a whole.
Yeah, no, we see it, Ryan and I see it in the high school and the club level. And then, I have a son who's 12 years old. He's going into sixth grade and this summer on the sidelines of his club games. I mean, you got the parents screaming at the refs. You got the kids talking about the refs. You got the coach. I mean, it's just, to me, a lot of the behavior is disgraceful.
How about running in the parking lot? They're running up to people. Yeah. I was at a Shyamalan. The guy runs in the parking lot once. Get out of here, you midget. The guy was like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
You're going to fight somebody, you little midget. I mean, go back to the house. It's terrible. What do you think, Ryan? What do you think?
Sorry. I just think they're making it personal, and it shouldn't. It's not personal,
crazy, right?
And some of the language and behavior is disgraceful and is bad modeling for their children.
That's all, yeah.
And what I'll say on the other side of it, because we had this discussion with Palem, in the sense that in any profession, you're going to find 10 or 15% that's below quality. You're just going to find it. And with the referee shortages you have, as you mentioned, in these tournaments, and there's tournaments all summer, what I see sometimes is I see people hired for a job that are going through the motions. And that's a recipe for problem, because when you have people that are passionate about things being done the right way. There's a story, I'll tell Smalls, there's a story online going around where Bill Walton's saying about Larry Bird, and they're getting blown out in a game, and they come out at halftime, and he says Larry Bird always inbounds the ball, and he takes the ball, and the referee's there, and he shoves the ball in the referee's stomach, and he says to him, "We're not quitting, so you better not quit. Don't go through the motions, because we're not quitting the game." And what I see sometimes is I see referees sometimes that seem like they're going through the motions.
You pay them 10 cents a game.
Wait a minute.
All right. You got these club teams. You drag the guys off the street.
Smalley always has to say he's going to call. He's the wild card. He's got to start with the referee. But here's my take on it. Okay, you got all these club games going across. I just saw it. With Darren Lowe came up from Florida with a team. I went to Nassau Community to watch them play. Then that same day, I went to Farmingdale to watch my nephew Stevie's games. They're doing the best they can. They're trying to pick up a few bucks, but you have so many games going on. These guys are not qualified. And I would venture to guess probably 90% of the guys who are doing it now never even played the game. So they don't understand the difference between a kid
checking somebody and trying to hurt somebody. And that's the problem. I'm watching games where kids are getting frustrated because it's like win at all costs, because you do have some maniac parents that think that, if that kid wins that game at Farmingdale State College that weekend, he's going to Notre Dame next year. And so they're going crazy, and they're all over the guy, and he really don't know. And now the kid's gassed up. I saw a game, a kid had the ball, attackman. He literally got fouled by 3 different guys. He got hit by 3 different guys, and they dropped 1 flag for a penalty. He ended up taking a shot, and the kid took one last swing at him on his back and hit him. So the kid turns. He's had enough. There probably should have been 4 or 5 penalties. He turns, and he gives a guy like a 2-hander, just a little cross-check to the chest. The kid who did most of the damage, he turns, he grabs the kid by the face mask, pulls the kid's helmet off, and starts swinging the helmet at the kid's head, who had no helmet on. Now, I'm saying to myself, then they're assessing a penalty, like, give him a minute. I'm like, a minute? That kid's got to be out of the tournament, if not out for the sun. You can't swing your helmet at a kid's head. But if a ref who knows that those checks are not trying to dislodge the ball, it's trying to take the guy's arm off. And there's the difference. And that's how it gets out of control, So
You're right,
they
Dave.
have
You're
to
right.
try to school these guys. I don't know if when they going to become a referee, how they get certified. Do they make them watch video? Do they show them stuff? But to me, the most important, forget the winning and losing. It's about protecting these kids from getting hurt. That's the most important thing. You got kids 5th, 6th, 7th grade. You don't want to get a kid hurt, and that's the danger of it. And well, I don't want to say it's ruining the game. There's
club is
positive
ruining the
aspects
game.
to it,
Basically, club.
but I think they have to rein in some parts of the thing. They have to sit down, and instead of figuring out having 42 more tournaments and how they're going to make more money, how do they protect the kids better? How do we
play
have
every
some better
weekend
safety?
to make money. It's a
What
money
do we
sport.
do if some kids get out of control? Do we say he can't play in any more games? Does that particular club team have to filter it down to their coaches of each age group and say, look, we're not going to stand for this. Player safety is the utmost important. We want kids having fun. We want them to be competitive and play a game. But come on, this is not, and take it from a guy who hated to lose in anything. It's not life and death. It's not, So play the game the right way. Give the kids some good values that they can learn. Coach them the right way as best you can. Because I do see guys who I know never really played and they coach, but I hear what they're saying. Maybe they watch some videos, and I give those guys credit. They do it in a nice way. They have a nice demeanor with the kids, as opposed to some guys I see coaching. They're like maniacs. They're screaming at kids.
Maybe we got to give him a cookie, Vinny. Maybe give him a cookie during the game. You know what I'm saying? He's a cookie. Give him a cookie.
Is high school
Fucking kids are
recruiting?
nuts.
Is high school recruiting done?
I hope
Would
not.
you say? What are your thoughts on, like, is club has the field tilted in that where it's high school has become far less important than recruiting out of the major clubs, or is high school still relevant
I
to some
hope it's
extent?
not. I'm like really fearful that your statement is correct, Stephen. I know Matt DeAnge pulled crap back in, like, we're up at Four Star at UMass, and I was sitting with Jack Rand and Matt DeAnge in Coach Rand's room, and we were talking about the soccer model, which was at that time was becoming a big thing, and high school soccer was kind of being de-emphasized because this. I didn't know enough about it. I was dismissive of it at the time. But, listen, us college coaches, if you don't live in a hotbed, you're not seeing high school games live. Therefore, the only time you get to see them is with their club teams, the summer or the fall. I think the better coaches are still communicating to, I don't want to say better coaches, it's wrong. The coaches that are doing their due diligence, they're still communicating with the high school coaches. It's a very important piece of this all. Most times those coaches are in the school. They get to know the kids. But I think if we're looking, man to man, I think the club game is a very big part of recruiting. It's an important piece of it because, again, that's when we got to see it. But it's not just to what you guys are talking about. It's not just like the play on the field. It's the person in the classroom, in the school, and at home. and most times, most times the high school coach knows who that is. I actually have a
Let's
dermatologist
go. We're
appointment.
gonna go.
I'm
We're
not
gonna
trying
go.
to bounce. I don't know if we're live.
We
Okay.
need a shout
Well,
out.
we gotta get it wrapped up, but we gotta get our shout outs.
Hold
Sorry,
on, we're
guys.
getting
I could
we're
talk
gonna
all
shout
day.
out now, and then we're going maybe for
Shout
one
out.
more minute.
Go ahead. We're gonna give Ryan his chance for his shout out
Where am I
first.
shouting out? Like,
Somebody in your past
Somebody who
that knew you for your whole life, and was a mentor, maybe something like that, or anybody you want to choose
Man.
from, like a big shout out.
there's a
And
lot of pressure here
could be
because,
anywhere.
like, if some of these guys are listening, if I miss their freaking names, I'm in trouble.
No, you won't know.
I
One or
mean,
two guys.
listen, Steve Langard has been with me since I was like 11 years old. Bobby Company, I was known since I was Jack Ryan. same thing. But then
Oh,
I know
Tommy,
Tommy
love
goes
it.
through right now. So, like, if I don't give Tommy hired me in college. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If I don't give him any love because he hired me as a college coach, my first job in college, then I'll be shot next time I'm on Long Island. But honestly, I've hung out with each of you guys
Love it.
in different ways, and I'm a creature of the room, and I take and kind of absorb everything. So thank you guys for everything you've done. Maybe the comments you made, joking around about whoever.
Thank you for
I happen to
coming
be
on.
listening.
Thank you.
So
We
thank you
appreciate
guys.
it. Congratulations.
We love you,
Thanks,
Ryan.
guys.
Good luck, man.
Thank
Good
you.
luck today. Your family,
I'm in,
Ryan.
man.
Family forever, brother.
If
Anything
you're roughing
for
a
you.
game, I
Anything's
got your back.
possible, bro.
What do you got, Woj?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Well, let's talk to you soon.
We got Woj.
Yeah, I got.
Go ahead, Ryan. You can
Thank
go,
you.
Ryan. Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you.
I got so I got my shout out to two people. One, my older brother Randy, and then my friend Chris Capone, who's I grew up with. Who's these guys are lacrosse junkies. They're huge fans of your podcast. They listen to it all the time.
I love Chris. You related to Alex Cone?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the guy's name.
And then they when they ask me about the podcast, they're not going to ask me what I talked about. They're going to ask me who you guys picked for the PLL picks because they want to back those picks. So
Yeah.
shout outs to those guys. But I got a question for Smalls. How's your bagpiping playing ability?
Oh, that's a good question. It's probably at a
Listen,
0 at best. And
The
I've been
guy
looking
is
for a
on 0 to
bagpipe all
10.
my life.
He's an 11.
They
'cause the
restrict me
guy's
when I
full
get
of hot
sweet.
air.
That's so funny. It's amazing tradition at Notre Dame. I didn't
This
really
is
know
dream
much
come
about
true.
it.
Could we
prior
have
to
him come
coming
out
in,
with the bagpipes onto the field for lead the team on one game, just one game? Let Smalley lead the team, wearing a kilt
Hey.
and the whole bit.
Listen,
Oh, Smalls, it's a dream come
if
true.
I'm making a call, 100%. If I'm making that call, 100%.
Oh,
But just like you're gonna pay Shami for face-off lessons, I'll pay the bagpipe coach to give him the lessons.
I love these guys. These guys
Hey,
are
what
the
was the
best.
thing
with-
with
who was looking to hire
hire
a
a
bagpiper
bagpiper
at
for
Small
the
Mojo,
weekend.
I love it.
Yeah, get him the
Mojo,
kilt, put him in
Final Four,
play.
I'll get you that.
That's a
I'll get you the
lifelong
kilt and
dream.
all.
That's
I'll
it.
buy that kilt and all. You know? Yeah,
And Chris,
yeah.
the one thing I try to do in life, Vinny and them know, might be crazy list. I always try to make it a better place for people. So our company, every year, we get suites locally. We go to the Final Fours, we get suites. We put on the whole show and everything, and I love it. I want to get bagpipes, people there. They wouldn't let me get that. I want to get a 6'10"
love it.
bodyguard. I want to take a bodyguard around me. I bet Vinny X is everything. I can't overshadow Vinny. He'll kill me. I'll be in a box.
That's so funny.
Bring him up.
The
Vinny, bring him
Yeah.
up.
it's hilarious. We got to get you guys out for a
Yeah,
football
that's
game.
amazing.
Come on, I
Yeah, I'd
mean,
love to do
that
that.
would be amazing. Honestly, it's better to come out for a football game. You see a football game, and we practice when there's a home football game. That Saturday morning, we do an inter squad scrimmage each
That's
Saturday of a
awesome.
home football game. So a lot of alumni, they come back. They know that before they're tailgating, they come watch us play, and we get a lot of just fans that are coming to tailgate for the football game that stop by, and watch lacrosse. So it's a great Saturday for sure. But the funny thing, one quick story telling about the tailgates. My mom's side's Italian, so I grew up really Italian. My last name you would never know. It's Polish, but I grew up in New Jersey.
Okay,
Italian.
yeah, I've
So
seen that.
my wife's got me on this diet, Optavia, which is high protein. So I mean, growing up, all I ate was pasta, bread, pizza, salt, the whole 9 yards with my grandmother, going to my grandmother's house. So we win the national championship this year. Everyone's tailgating in the parking lot. I leave the stadium with my family, walk into the tailgate, and my family's like, a lot of relatives came out, from New Jersey and friends. And I'm sitting there talking to my Italian aunt. And, we just won the national championship, right? It's like, let's get this party started, right? And my aunt's like, you're so skinny. What's going on? And I'm like, Aunt Jean, like, I haven't really had pizza or pasta in 6 months. And it was like, I said, it was like the music stopped, right? We just won. My aunt starts yelling at me. She's like, what's the matter with you? You stupid, like you're not eating the pizza. And like, I was like, wait a second. We just won the national championship. I'll get this party started in the parking lot. And my aunt's going off on me about not eating pasta and pizza because I'm on this high protein diet.
So who's your shout out, guy? You did a shout out, right, Chris? You did.
Yeah, shout out. No, for sure. Sorry, you going, Smalls?
I gotta give it to Coach Corrigan. Three Pete's coming, baby. I'm gonna be on the field with a green outfit, a green top hat. I'm gonna go crazy. I believe in you guys. Three Pete, you'll go down as the greatest team. That's it, boys.
I'll give a shout
Love
out
it.
to the
Vinny, what do you got?
for soldiers. I think we're going to be over there this week, maybe, right? We're going to do a little live thing for a good cause, the shootout for soldiers, the guys who run it.
Yeah, we're doing a little podcast
for a very good cause. And, it integrates lacrosse into that. And it's I don't know how many years they're doing it, but they're amazing, those guys. Those people that volunteer their time and do that. It's great.
Great event.
Hey, Chris, your wife is the GOAT, baby. Without your wife, you have no credibility. She does everything for you, right?
Here's the clue right here. They got that.
Look at that.
How many kids?
Yeah, 4 kids. You got Jack, who's 12. We got Claire, who's 10. Emaly's going to be 8, and Grace, baby, who's a rocket. She got the most energy.
There you
6.
go.
My wife, the goat, Catherine, right here.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
The GOAT. The wives are the GOATs. Let's him coach. Let's this guy shine. Can you imagine what she's got to do?
The wives, no doubt about it.
The true all-stars for coaches are wives.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, Ben, what do they always say? The wives are the GOATs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it out to another Notre Dame guy that maybe we'll have him on at one point. A man named McEnany.
Yeah, he wants to
maybe
come
we'll
on.
Get him out and on. He's got a perspective. We're getting our feet wet in this. We don't know what
we just started, Chris.
And talking to guys like McEnany and Koch, maybe they can give us a little feedback and little legs on how we can sharpen up our skills. Our skills on the lacrosse field are okay, but in some of the discussions and interviews, we could always look for some tips to sharpen us up.
Oh, that's awesome. I think you guys are awesome. You guys are authentic. You said knowledgeable, hilarious. Keep it, just can be serious. You keep it light.
Thank you. We're so happy.
It's really
to have
entertaining.
You too,
I'm a big fan, and I'm honored that you guys thought to have us on.
Hey, Chris, tell Coach Corrigan that you love him today, and when you tell him you love him, say, Coach, listen, you got to go on the podcast for the Three Guys Many Games. Yeah, I really love you, Coach. What's the guy telling me?
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Right.
And are you going to be in Placid?
We will be in Placid.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know with the family. I'm trying. I just turned 50. They're trying to. The 50-year-old teams are trying to get me to play.
Which 50?
Come on, Chris. Come on.
Come with Tillman.
Chris, come on.
There's
Come
a
on,
freaky
come out there,
Clemson
Vinny.
team.
That's the team.
Yeah.
That's Cavuti. That's
So Mickey's been working me, and a lot of these guys been working me. I just turned 50. I would love to play. Mick is he is.
Shape your life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Diet.
I'm actually at my my college lacrosse. I'm at my college soccer weight.
Another guy coming out
in
of
the best
retirement,
shape I've been in my
Steven.
life.
You got a soccer
Since
player.
college,
Mickey's
Dude,
out
you-
like
you
that.
warm
Start
up
to
a
play
little
like
bit, Notre
He's
Dame.
out heavily recruited.
Yeah.
Oh no, you got a ringer. You got a shooter.
Yeah, no, I
He's a
coach the
shooter.
goalies as well.
That's the biggest
So I
thing. Guys can't
definitely
pull
do.
the trigger at 50. You know,
Yeah,
it's tough
well,
pulling
we
the
got
trigger.
Garnsey. Yeah, Garnsey.
Yeah.
Garnsey, we got Garnsey as well on staff. He's an incredible coach and young man. And him and I warm up the goalies each day. So it's funny. The two goalies that they're always like, I got Coach Garnsey today. The two want me all the time, throwing the meatballs.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
But yeah, no, I get, you get 50 shots a day or something like that. So it keeps me sharp for
Hey,
sure.
hey, Chris, stand up. Let me see your guns. You got some shit going on? Oh, he lost me with him.
All right, let the guy go.
Don't
You
make
gotta
the
do- you
50s.
gotta
Chris,
do-
good job.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
all right, Chris, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, give him a big hand.
We'll
Thank
see
you,
you
Chris.
Friday.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Friday we'll
Love
be
you.
at
Love you
Chicago.
guys.
Show
During the
the
week, Steven, we'll do
Love
the
you guys.
thing.
little picks during the week
Yes.
for the
Take
weekend
care.
so that everybody can see
Bye-bye.
him. Thanks again, Chris.
I can't
Thanks,
wait.
Chris.
See you guys.
All right, guys. We're signing
Yeah.
off.